What's going on, guys? It's David Piatek and Dwayne. I got a video for that Kimball. Today, we're going to be talking about the government shutdown. We're going to be answering questions around real estate, VA disability. We've been doing this for, I think, 2.5 years now. So just want to say thank you to everyone out there that tunes in every month and asks us questions and listens to us, because there's so much happening right now in the world. So it's good to get some actual facts from people, Dwayne. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, most definitely. It's always I gotta delete this comment because I spelled you wrong. But yeah, this is trying times for a lot of people as working in the VA, a lot of uncertainty. I was there at some point.
Yep.
Um, we were talking about it earlier when I was there and uncertainty. So it's definitely not a good thing. But yeah, I'm ready to jump into it.
That's awesome. Yeah, and right now we're also seeing a weather shift. As you guys see, the flannel is already being put on and the beard is growing. So up in the north, winter's coming, as they say. So we're just getting ready
It's
for that.
coming.
Well, down south, you guys have it really good. So please, guys, if you have questions, drop them in the comment section. Any commentary, drop it in there. But it's always good to see you guys on this beautiful Wednesday evening, no matter where you're at in the country. So I'll kind of kick it off with the housing market and this whole government shutdown. Because a couple weeks ago, if you guys remember, I did a whole live event about the Fed funds, the Fed meeting that they lowered the interest rate for the overnight rate, but the opposite effect happened on interest rates is they actually kind of went up since then. And a great tool to use to check that out is mortgagenewsdaily.com. They just kind of show you, hey, this is what the average is amongst lenders in the community. So rates have really they went up a little bit, so that kind of caused some confusion around why did that happen. And that's primarily, just so you guys know, during COVID, when the Fed would drop the rates, right, that you would also see interest rates go down. And that's because the government was artificially purchased, or they were purchasing all the more bonds that were out there, basically artificially keeping them super low so people could invest in the stock market. And that's why the market did so well. Fast forward to today, just like what happened last year, and I believe September, they anticipated a rate drop. Rates dropped up into that point, and then once they dropped it, they skyrocketed. So it's the same thing that happens over and over and over again. And then you have the government shutdown right now, which, for the folks that are out there worried about the VA home loan itself, the beauty of it is that banks are the ones that are primarily driving that. Now, if you're in a joint home loan application or you have an entitlement issue you didn't resolve before the shutdown, that can be delayed because they might have a reduction in man force. And I know that's definitely affecting the VA side of the house for that. I'll stop there because there's a lot of things that we're going to talk about. But
Mhm.
wait, what are you seeing with this government shutdown affecting veterans? I know that VA disability compensation, for at least for that part, isn't touched. But where are we seeing challenges for the veteran community?
Well, as it pertains to and off the grid, he put a question in the chat that aligns with your question. Um, Off the grid, they are working new claims. They are being processed. The only thing is you have essential and non-essential VA employees. So the non-essential VA employees have been furloughed. The essential employees are still there. So the individuals that are doing the development, adjudicating, authorization, let's see what else, high level reviews, they are still processing those claims. Okay. Now, when I went through a furlough, when I was at the VA, I was deemed essential. And, David, you and I were talking about this earlier. My mindset was not so much for 2 weeks. Did I get the correct effective date right? Did I get the correct percentage? I was worried about, am I going to get paid at the end of the pay period? Basically, like right now, you're working for free. And if you call off sick, we're going to consider you AWOL. We could fire you. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. So I talked about this in my monthly veterans membership group a few months ago and previously, where, when you're going through these government shutdowns, VA employees, especially on the benefit side, I don't know about the hospital side, they are wondering, like, wait a minute, what's going to happen? Can we take vacation? And when you're asking management all these questions, it's the same answer. I don't know. I don't, and
Oh,
they don't know. They don't know, so where do you go? You go online, you start watching the news, and you're not always getting the correct information. So I think a lot of these VA employees right now, their mindset is just not on VA claims. It
yeah,
should be, but it's understandably. Um, I understand because they're not focused. They're not
right.
focused. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's unfortunate because we're, they're trying to at least help the veteran community out there, right? To get your VA
Yeah.
disability compensation, to get what you deserve. So just know that right now things can be delayed, at least on that front. One
Yeah.
thing I'll touch on from the housing market itself, is that affordability as at its all-time best for the last 2.5 years. Okay,
Hmm.
so basically people are able to afford more than they were before. And where a lot of confusion comes from people out there is that home values have gone up. So they're like, how is affordability getting better? Well, because we're seeing price adjustments across the country. That's number one. And rates have gone down since from a couple months ago to work in favor for veterans. And there was like also like a ridiculous amount of people that refinanced for the last 4 weeks prior to the Fed dropping the Fed funds rate and then mortgage rates going up. It was like
Hmm.
80,000 people. So again, just like clockwork from before. So don't let these things discourage you from actually, using your benefits and just listening to people out there that don't know what they're talking about. But the affordability piece is so important, Dwayne, is that uh, people have more, they can put more money in their pocket. And, everywhere that you live or wherever you guys live, the prices are all different. It's very micro to your area, right? You could be 2 blocks over and home values could be completely different. So
Hmm.
kind of keep that in mind when you're going through that process. What else is going on the V disability home front?
I did a video I posted last Friday, the VA scandal in
What scandal?
Philadelphia. Yeah, you didn't hear it? So,
Mm,
okay, David is not subscribed to my YouTube channel,
okay, I
even
am
though I got a
subscribed,
video for
people.
that.
I am subscribed. Let's just get that clear. I am subscribed.
Yeah, I'm just teasing. So what happened was, and I had to take some time to look at this OIG report, read it, because they were talking about a particular position at the VA, and I'm familiar with that
Ah,
position. So I had to think about, I'm like, okay, wait a minute, all this, because somebody said, oh, this 20-minute video you could have done in 5 minutes. Yes, if I'd never worked at the VA before, I could have done it in 3 minutes, but you would have been definitely confused. So what happened was you have VSC, Veteran Service Centers, and PMCs, Pension Management Centers. There's 3 PMCs: Philadelphia, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and St. Paul, Minnesota. And they handle certain claims like pension, uh, I think spousal, death pension, stuff like that, right? Pension, when I was Raider, I did not like working pension claims. It was just, I just,
is it like the pension one where if you fall under a certain income category, but you're not qualified for a pension, you can get.
not qualified for compensation.
Oh yeah, you're not qualified for compensation. You're not eligible for a pension, but you're a veteran and you meet like a
Right.
poverty
So,
threshold,
right.
right?
So, well, that's on the IU. So, pension, we
Ah,
would service connect the veteran, non service connected. So they would say, go find some diagnoses that he or she has at VA, and then we'll roll that
wow.
under pension, right? It's weird. I didn't like doing it because it just used up too many brain cells, right? But there was an authorizer, and they used to call them super seniors. And I think a lot of them probably retired by now because they didn't backfill those positions. So they were authorizers. So when the rater gets done, a VSR takes it and promulgates it. And then an authorizer authorizes it, saying, hey, it's good to go. Go ahead. And this is what we're going to pay the vet. This is what we're going to withhold. Make sure all the service dates are correct. Blah, 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 blah. Right? Now, This particular VSR authorizer was just rubber stamping stuff, wasn't even looking at it. And so as I was going through this OIG report between 22 and 24, I think it was 85,000 and some odd claims, right? They were authorizing. So 2022, they authorized like 28,000. The
What?
national average for one VSR was like 1,300, between 13, 1,500, something like that. So the director of the Northeastern region reached out to the Veteran Service Center manager and said, hey, take a look at this. Something is not right. And they was like, nope, it's nothing wrong. So they knew about it. And then they said the Veteran Service Center manager said, well, don't do so many, only do like 8 or 10 a day. So you see the numbers from 2023 was like 39,000, dropped down to 23,000. But what I was trying to get people to understand is how veterans can be impacted, because the OIG of the VA, they don't have really any power over the VA. They just, hey, we did this investigative report and here's our recommendation. So the recommendation was go back and look at these 85,000 claims by the end of the year. It is no way, you would have to like shut ROs down, because the number of people that do not work those claims, so they had to get some type of training. But then those three regional offices, if they didn't do any other of those claims, that means now they're increasing that backlog. And it was this rubber stamp. So the authorizer was doing this, and the management at the Philadelphia regional office knew about it. And so I told people, hey, I was doing it on StreamYard, the article, but I did a separate video for my monthly veteran members. And I showed them the M21-1 that showed which claims that the PMCs work. And if you file one of those claims, contact the 800 number, 800-827-1000, ask them about, what happened, if their claim was rated at that regional office. So I had somebody leave me a comment and they said, they did a call, they asked that question, and the person said, you got to submit a FOIA request. Your FOIA request is not going to tell you where that claim was worked. Well, in the notification letter, in the top right-hand corner, there's a 3-digit number. The 3-digit number represents the regional office. Now, you can go to the M21-1 and you can find Philadelphia's regional office number. Then you'll know, okay, this claim was authorized, promulgated, and authorized. It could have been rated in Louisville, Kentucky, but it could have been authorized, promulgated, and authorized at another location. Okay. But how many people know to look for that 3-digit number? So I told the person, call back and talk to someone else. You got somebody at the 800 number who's just lazy and don't want to give that information.
That's so sad, because like now government shutdown, it's probably going to be difficult to get a FOIA request. Man. It's going to be.
Yeah, they probably, I don't know how they used to do them when they were paper files. When I was at the St. Petersburg regional office, we had people in publications, because they would handle all the mail, right? We were the largest regional office in the country, and we had like 6 or 7 people working in pubs. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And they were low GS levels, and I'm pretty sure anybody would be like, they would probably be furloughed. Yeah.
That's crazy. That is wild. So I mean, there definitely is a lot of the huge impact for the veteran community. But I don't know how they're going to be able to get that in. And if you guys haven't subscribed to both of our channels, please make sure you do so you guys can get updated information on VA home loan, the real estate market, because so many things are changing, and then VA disability compensation. One thing that I will add to, which is a pretty significant deal, it's probably like one of the biggest deals I think in a long time, is that there is a new bipartisan bill that is proposed. Okay, I'm going to drop it down in the chat section.
Say that again, Dave. Say that again. Proposed. Not implemented.
Not implemented. Yes. Proposed bipartisan bill to change one thing. And that is to change the IRS classification of VA disability to be considered not income, including your military pension. That
Do
is
you
huge.
do you think that's the first time there's one thing in a bipartisan bill since agreeing upon the flag, the national anthem? You think that's it's probably the first thing since
Well,
then?
I mean, I don't really see many one item
That's
things,
what I'm
right?
saying.
Yeah, so it's
What's
like
up?
it's a very positive part because it's like we're asking for one thing, not like a 900-page document where we're trying
Right.
to push everything into. They're literally just asking for one thing. And I did drop that in the chat, but yeah, it's
Okay.
kind of interesting to me because if they classify or if they say that VA disability and pension is not considered income anymore, as far as like your VA loan, it would still count because it is actual income. But what they're referring to, or it would help you, is to like receive assistance, right? Like housing
Yeah.
assistance, maybe like food assistance, because that income doesn't count anymore as income. So I think it's a pretty big deal. To that, let me know in the chat what you guys think of something like that happening.
Dave, I forgot to share some good news.
What's that?
I forgot to share. Dun, 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 dun.
What?
Yeah, so I got to send you a free copy, my guy.
Number one, I'm gonna come to your house. I'm gonna
And
watch
get
you
it
sign it like
like
the
last
last
time.
one.
So people, I don't know what I was just having to look over it. I'm like, wait a minute. This is my new book, The VA Compensation Blueprint. Trying to get it focused. It's time to win. And in this book, when I'm doing David, I'm filing a claim, not an
Okay.
actual claim, not an actual claim, but John Doe claim.
Okay.
And people can follow along with me. So at the end of the chapter, in parts of the book, in some chapters, I say, hey, now I'm gonna wait on you. Pick this, or how are you gonna do this? So you can follow along with me. I'll put the link to my Shopify account. Now, people, please, when you get to the Shopify store, I have coupon codes. Please use the coupon code. Dave, don't you know people are not using the coupon code? I'm like,
Yes.
this is the largest percentage I'm going to be providing. So now is the time. So if you bought the first book, you should have received an email with the larger coupon code. Okay. If you
Wow.
bought the previous book, uh, for those of you that said yes, for me to send you a newsletter. For those of you that said no, we didn't send you I'm sorry, not a newsletter, but an email, because you told us no, we couldn't send you anything. All right. But if you did email me, I'll fact check, not using chat GBT, but sort of like chat GBT. I'll fact check my Shopify records to see if you did. I'll email you that code. All right. Sorry about that, Dave, but thank you.
No, it's good. It's good because it's like, I mean, yeah, but he does sign it. And someone did ask a question. Dwayne, does your new book also come
Yes.
signed
Yes.
from
I'm waiting to
Christine?
put it on Amazon. It'll come up on Amazon probably next month. So if you order any book you order through my Shopify store, I personally sign it. Dave was lucky. Dave was here in Tampa. He came by the house,
Yep.
came in the office. He was standing right there. Okay. Gave the book. We should have took a picture that day. But,
Yeah, I know. I know. Next time I come up, I'll definitely. It's long overdue. But you know what? And during the winter time is the best time for me to come up to somewhere that's much warmer than where I'm at, because it's probably going to be snowing here in like the next week.
yeah.
So I'm anticipating that happening. So let's just go through some of these questions. And again, please drop them down and we'll answer anything that you guys have. Otherwise, you're gonna have to listen to us talk forever, right? At least for the next 40
Yeah.
minutes or so. So, William, just say good evening, everyone. So, thank you for joining us today. So, I think this question was good evening. I know no new claims are being processed, but can one still do an intent to file? That's a great question.
Yeah. I talked about that earlier, but I will tell you what, off the grid, I have a video on that. They said the number one non-VA regulation that gets veterans in trouble. They said so. Whoever told you no new claims are being processed, that is incorrect. VSRs, RVSRs are still working.
Okay. And you can still file an intent by calling the VA, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that follows also for VA home loans, because if you are in the process of, let's say, buying a home, but you then didn't file your VA disability, you can actually file your intent, close on the home, get charged the VA funding fee, and then uh, after you get your disability rating, 10 or not 10 years on the line, like one maybe 10, but well, and I've seen someone 16 years. That was crazy, but they got 16 years of back pay. But anyways, 1 or 2 years out, and then they backdated to your file to intent to file, and it was before your closing date. Then you can reach out to the VA for a refund. So huge benefit. Just make sure you guys utilize it. Now, someone's asking, what is the average rate right now? So I'm assuming that's with the VA home loan. Without going into a million disclaimers, okay, because that's what's needed anytime you talk about interest rates. What I use when I want to see, like, hey, what's the average interest rates right now, is I go to mortgagenewsdaily.com. So they're a third party, right? They just aggregate the data, and then you can kind of see, well, what the average rates look like. And it's just an easy way to be able to identify that. So he's asking, right now in the middle of turning a land loan into a new construction loan using the VA loan. Haven't heard anything from my lender. I'm not sure if we've talked before, because I know the name looks on this, but it doesn't pop up with your real name. If you want to reach out to me and I can connect you with someone, I don't do VA construction loans because those require a very, very specialized person to go and do that, because you need a whole team dedicated to do this construction part, right? It's not like doing a regular VA home loan. But I can connect you with someone that specializes in them. They're also a veteran themselves. But he actually does nothing but VA construction loans. That's the good part.
It's like rating a Parkinson's or ALS claim, and they had special people. I know how to do it, but they had special teams. I think it was called special circumstance, special something, and they, it would take you literally like a day and a half, maybe 2 days to rate one of those. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, for some things you really want a specialist, right? Like you do a renovation loan, you have to go to a team that just does renovation loans, because there's so much red tape that goes with those. From our end, like we're able, but even with that being said, I can still walk you through what that process looks like, but then I'll have to refer you to somebody that we're able to go through it with you. But at least you can always count on me to review the documents and be able to let you know, okay, this is good or this isn't. This one's for you.
Yeah, Scott, he thought extremely well the other day. Went from there. It is, people. Congratulations, Scott. I think we talked about this yesterday, didn't we, Scott? What's the day? Wednesday, Tuesday. Yeah. So Scott, let me know if we talked about this. If that's you, we talked about it. So, yeah. Congrats.
That's awesome. Chris B sharing some love.
Yeah, Chris came on our 12-hour live stream.
I know.
Hey, yeah. So Chris, yeah, that's what it's about. People that come to my channel or opting in my services is all about educating. And paying it forward, and having people to subscribe to my channel. Like David's channel. If you're trying to do a home loan, get this free information. We're live the second Wednesday of every month, and then go out and educate the next person. So hey, they don't have to call me.
Right. And we actually do see that a lot, right? Playing it forward. And, that's how I came across your channel, Dwayne, where I was like trying to figure out my own VA stuff. Then I reached out on LinkedIn, and here we are 2.5 years later.
Yeah.
And you couldn't ask for more. So I'm sure you guys noticed me being on a couple of channels, including my own. And it's not by accident. It's literally, I was doing research like you're doing, sitting at home right now and trying to figure it out. And it's the same thing that I do on the VA home loan side. Because even today, like Dwayne, like as many videos as I've watched of yours, as many times as we talked, you're the expert, right? Not me on VA disability. You call me on home loans, I call you on VA disability.
Yeah.
And then, but at least we are a resource for people. So like when I talk to people, they're like, I haven't filed, but I thought about it. Like, well, here's a resource. And that's what we hope that you guys do with our information is please share it with the veteran community. So let me go into the next question. Here we go.
I got a bunch of secondaries. I'm in the process of submitting and a C&P exam next week on a few presumptives I submitted. Make sure, Scott, you one confirm when they call you, if they've already called you, if you hadn't done this, call back and confirm which conditions you're showing up for. Do not walk in there blind and not knowing if you're showing up for chronic fatigue syndrome exam or COPD exam due to go for undiagnosed illness. And then once you confirm that, go to the VA's website, look in the disability rating criteria, the VA's disability rating criteria, and understand the criteria for each one of those percentages based off your evidence. Okay. And that's what you talk about. So, Scott, I believe that was you yesterday. Maybe it wasn't, but I think I remember that last name because somebody asked us David, in the group, and they was like, and I told them when I went to my exam for increase, every time the examiner asked me, what is your name? I gave them, I recited the 50% criteria, and then I gave my last name. Can you verify your last four? I gave them 50%, but we laugh. But with some of these examiners, you have to do that. You have to know. You can't go in there shooting from the hip.
No, and that's the thing I tell people. I had a buddy of mine in my unit that's getting out that is going through the exams, and I'm like, have you reviewed the DBQs before your CMP exam? And they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, all right, let's do a crash course, right? We had the CFR 38, the chapter, like this is where they have all the VA disability stuff. These are the questions that they're going to be asking you. And it's just like we always say this, right? And I know that a while ago they were threatening to take down the DBQs, right?
Yeah.
It's about not like having a baseline knowledge. It's like what I do in VA housing. Like you're not going to watch it and be like, this is exactly what I'm going to do. It's going to give you a framework for what things to understand. And then your unique situation will dictate how those blank spots are filled.
Ooh,
okay.
Yeah.
Can't explain that better than that. So it's the same thing when you go for a CMP exam. Like, as you guys know, and let us know in the comment section, you can go in for 16 things, DBQs, and walk out in 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's no joke. And then you're wondering, you might be like, maybe you're blind, maybe you're not paying attention. You're like, this must have went really well. It's not a good sign.
No, no,
right now.
no.
So this is why it's so important to prepare for this and understand it. And this is kind of like what we have going on with everything we're doing.
But I even have a video where I say, if your exam is 5 minutes long, do this.
But
I
it is
talk about,
unbelievable.
yeah,
But
I
it
talk
is
about
so
the
true.
DBQs. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, and if you haven't done a CMP exam and this happens to you, you're gonna be like, I can't believe that this really happened.
You're gonna be laughing like Dave.
You'll be laughing.
Dave
They were
said
right,
that.
as usual. All right, this one's for you.
Seeing arthritis, muscular condition. Not that I can recall. Not that I can recall. Not saying that it can't happen, or if I just don't remember if I ever rated one. It doesn't ring a bell.
Cool. And just by the way, guys, if you do receive that VA disability compensation, that income can be used right away when using a VA home loan. So that is something to consider when you're going through that process.
One thing we didn't talk about, Dave, and I heard the VA secretary mention this on, I can't remember which news station he was on. He said payments, even though people are being furloughed, our monthly compensation will not be interrupted.
Correct.
Those payments will still go out. So I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, that's good. Because that's a separate pot of money. And I'm assuming that goes the same thing, that if you get awarded your VA disability, let's say today, and you're owed back pay of like 60 grand, you're still going to get that money because that money is separate from what's happening right now. So thank you. That's a good reminder, because I did get a lot of questions. And then I don't know if I mentioned, because I got so many calls and text messages like, was my VA loan affected by the shutdown? No. I did cover that earlier. Just remember that benefit is primarily controlled by lenders, unless you have a special circumstance for you.
When filing a claim, what is a good time to file the next claim? I have heard. Got a video on that. Got a video on that. They said if you file a claim, get rated, then file another claim with the same year, you could cause it. People, that right there is YouTube clickbait. As a
Oh,
former VA rater, I could count on one hand whenever what audit? I'm trying, David. I'm still trying. They say trigger audit. What audit? I never heard of this audit. Out of all my years at the VA, the only audit I heard about is the veteran says, "Hey, you all paid me incorrectly. You didn't add my house balance. You shorted me $500 a month over the past 12 months." And then finance does an audit.
ah,
So audit, I never heard of that. What do you mean audit? Where is this coming from? Where is it at in 38 CFR, the -1, the -4, the -5? Please let me know. That is YouTube clickbait, Tin Man. There are some examples where I had to go back and look at something, but it was more so the veteran knew they shouldn't have gotten some years prior, and they waited years thinking that it wasn't going to get caught. But I've rated cases where veterans have been 100%, David, PNT for 10 years, 15, 20 years, and came in and filed a claim for tinnitus. I didn't go back and look at the right knee that they got service connected for 10 or 15 years ago. No, if that was the case, you think the wait times, the backlog wait times would
oh wow,
it would be ridiculous. I can show you my claims folder. No, I wasn't worried about it.
that's a weapon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That is a weapon, by the way.
yeah. So yeah, Tim, man, I think that's YouTube clickbait. I'm not saying that it never happens, but just make sure you're doing everything on the up and up, because it for some crazy reason it could, but normally when that happens, I tell you when it happens. You get divorced, you're 100% PNT, you get divorced, your wife or husband is mad, and they call the VA and say, "Hey, he's service connected or she's service connected 10% for their back," and they were in Aspen last week skiing.
Mm.
That's when you normally see it happen, not when you file a new claim.
So it's the people around you that end up snitching.
Yeah, and they don't be dry
Gotcha.
snitching. They be picking up the
They're
phone.
snitching. Snitches
Yeah,
get stitches. Just remember that.
they be straight snitching. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like I was talking with somebody about like, when veterans have a property tax exemption, right? And they don't pay property taxes.
Mm.
And let's say that's designed for your primary residence. I was talking with like a Cook County assessor's office for something for helping a veteran. And I'm like, well, how do you guys catch people that are the veterans that are like not living there, they're renting it out, but they have the exemption on there? And the
Oh.
lady goes, simple. The neighbors will snitch on them.
So they
That's
done
why it's
told the
so important to
neighbors,
be good to
yeah.
your neighbors and don't lie either.
And you know
But
what? And I have a video on that, Dave, where I say, be quiet. Don't be telling your fellow veteran or
yeah,
anybody, what your service connected for. If you want that handicap license plate, when you pull into your driveway, bag in.
or get a placard. Don't be
Right,
shy. Get a
right,
placard.
right.
Which actually probably is a separate subject because in some states, if you are 100% PNT, you can automatically file for one. So just so you guys
Hmm.
know,
Okay.
some areas will let you do that. So the days maybe where your back's giving out and you're having a hard time, you can actually use one of those spaces. So it definitely helps in that sense. So all right, let's roll into the next one. So this one is a two-part question. I'll let you read it. This one's for
So I
you.
received my decision letter from the VA today on a supplemental claim I filed, claiming migraines and IBS secondary to my service connected anxiety. But in the decision letter states that I was denied for direct service connection, even though I explicitly stated that I was filing these conditions secondary to my service connect. Should I file a high level review? Yes. But Mr. Franco, the question is, do you know what argument you need to make
Mm.
on the high level review? Okay. I'm trying to think. It wouldn't be due process because they did give you a CMP exam. I can't think of which 38 CFR it falls under, but What the rater should have done is sent the exam back as a 2507 addendum request. And I have a videos explaining what is a 2507 medical request. So sometimes the VSR will request the incorrect medical opinion. The raters should have caught it. They shouldn't have rated it. If you claimed it. Now, if you claim something secondary and I deny it, I'm going to deny it on a secondary basis and I'm going to deny it on a direct basis. I have to. So make sure you read that rating decision again and ensure it doesn't state you're denied secondary, or look for the medical opinion in there. Okay. That's where you'll see it's less likely than not that your diagnosis of anxiety, was it migraines? I'm looking at the wrong migraines and IBS is secondary to your service-connected anxiety. And then in the next paragraph, they're probably denying it on a direct basis. They have to do that.
Oh, wow. That's a lot right there.
Yeah.
That is a lot. This one's for me. I'm dealing with a bankruptcy. Are there special VA programs for a loan modification when behind? Great question. Lawyer asked my Carrington mortgage, but they say they are unaware of any. All right. Couple of things here. So if you're not tracking, the VAST program went away, right? That was like to help veterans if they needed to do any type of modification. VA came in, gave 2.5% interest rate. They re-amortized it for you. You were in a pretty good spot. But earlier this year, they got rid of that program, signed into law. I think it was beginning of June or July or something like that. They signed into law a new program that if you fell behind, right? This is the idea. If you fell behind on your payments, the VA could step in, buy up or bail out that money you're behind and basically put a second mortgage lien on your home. And essentially you go back to making your regular payments. That was the idea. Then when you go sell your home, they basically get their money back when that happens. So that's what was supposed to happen. Now that was signed into law, but it still hasn't really been in place. So that was supposed to be happening, I believe, by the end of December, early January. That's supposed to be fully implemented, but my sources at the VA say that they don't even have any direction as of yet for that program. So obviously it's not as good as the VAST program was. The VAST program was kind of a dream program. And a lot of people were in the middle of it when they canceled it and they weren't able to execute on it, which is pretty unfortunate. Now, one thing to understand about loan modifications is that if you are behind on payments, your lender can give you the option of doing a loan modification. Now, what I've seen from my experience is they'll put you in some kind of temporary program first, like a 6-month or a year-long program to make sure that you can make payments because, they have to still make the tax payments. They have to make the interest payments to the investors. So they give you this trial period. After that trial period ends and you make all the payments on time, which is typically more than what you started with your payment, okay? That's why it's so tough for people, Dwayne, after you missed one payment to catch up, okay? Because now you're kind of in this vicious circle. This is why budgeting and credit is so important to leverage yourself. Yeah, so we're gonna see how they're gonna play this out. It's still gonna be a couple months before this all gets finalized. But actually, let me finish that. So they'll actually, after you do the trial period, then you could be put in like a 40-year term mortgage, which is wild because the amount of interest you'll spend is mind blowing. And you won't be able to refinance for another 2 years from the time that happens. So just keep that in mind. 12 months to 2 years. Every investor is different. Sometimes we'll see people that have a VA loan. They went through a loan modification. Then they're trying to buy another house. Okay, because you can have multiple VA loans, right? But they were in a loan modification on their other home. So as long as it's like, again, depending on lender, what we typically see 12 months, 24 months out, then you could already use your VA loan. And the credit normally kind of gets repaired during that time anyways. So that could be positive. Now, if you file the bankruptcy a little bit different, if you did a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. After 2 years, you could reuse, you can qualify again for a VA loan. But just make sure you reestablish credit. And Chapter 13, it's 1 year, but the who is it that the person that manages your Chapter 13 does have to give you approval to do it.
Okay. I know I had to do a loan modification with an organization back in 2010. Um, when I got to the VA, I noticed on my first check, I was like, I knew this when I accepted the position as a rater. I took about a $55,000 pay cut.
Wow.
And it was an organization called NACA, NACA. Have you
Mhm.
ever heard of them?
Yes.
Yep, I used them. And what was cool about it, I had to drive down to West Palm Beach. Yeah, this was back in 2010. I want to say around October or something like that. Um, and I had to sit in a convention center. So I've rated cases. I was requesting exams all day. Rented a car, drove down there, sat in a convention center,
Wow.
and they were like, "Hey, people are going home," but they had like 100 reps, and then they were like, "But we have people in North Carolina, Boston. You'll come up, get on the phone with them. You have all your paperwork. You fax it up there to them." And then I came back the next morning, and they had all lenders there, and I got my remodification right on the spot. But I had to show they made me miss like be late on one of the requirements, like be late on one of the payments or something
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
qualify. And I was like, okay. But I got it. I got it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like sometimes they're gonna have stipulations, and you just have to make sure that you check that out and take a look at that.
Yeah.
Next question is a good one. What countries overseas can you use the VA home loan? Dwayne, you had that same question for me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. We get that from time to
y-
time.
yeah, so you can buy within the continental United States and its territories. All right. To buy within the territories, you typically do need to work with a lender in that area, like Puerto Rico, Guam. I think the Virgin Islands are part of that. So you can still use the VA loan in those areas, still do VA construction loans, all that fun stuff. But typically, you need to work with a lender in that area. And I also would recommend it. If it's like Alaska, you can call me. If it's the United States, we're good. But if you go outside of that, then no, you need to really work with a specialized person. Now, one question that I will answer, because this is something that I get often, is that how can I use my VA loan to buy a home overseas? And like I mentioned, like, well, it's only its territories in the continental United States and Hawaii, right? So it's part of that. Is if you own a home, you could leverage the equity in that home to pull cash out of with a cash out refinance or a HELOC or a fixed second mortgage. And then you can buy the other property in cash, leveraging the property you have here. That is a way that you can do it. Okay. So don't let your dreams go by the wayside. Same thing if you own a home here and you're like, hey, I want to move back to Germany because that's where I was stationed. I love it there. Italy, love pasta. That's great. Then you can just sell your home here and use all that money and then um, go to that country and spend that money there and buy the house. So you can leverage it in different ways, right? It's not always going to be automatic. So that's a good question. That's what's for you.
30% migraines, but Nexus and DBQ show severe economic inadaptability. Sure. So if you have that evidence, you have the claims folder, holler review 0996. That is the argument. Okay. Um, or you can do, if it's been more than a year, you can also do a CUE. I have what CUEs are, because the difference between an appeal / holler review and CUE, clear and unmistakable error. The appeals process, you got 365 days from the date of the notification letter, not the rating decision, the
Mm.
notification letter. A CUE, it never expires. But when you do a CUE, you have to be talking facts. It is up to you to determine what they did wrong and find the regulations that support your argument. And the same thing on a holler review as well. But on a holler review, you want to point out, if you do an informal conference or you put it in a statement, you want to let them know, hey, the rater missed the DBQ, which shows the evidence, because they have to look at all the evidence and then they weigh it.
That's awesome. And we got a thank you from Hector
Hector
Gonzalez.
Gonzalez.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Much appreciated. All right, let me go into here. So it's Joseph saying, call your senators and ask them to vote yes on the clean CR. What is that?
Hmm. I don't know what that is.
Joseph,
What type
please.
of bill is that? Yeah.
Maybe it's the thing I was talking about with the IRS change. If that's the case, that is true. All right,
Yeah.
this one's for you.
I have a CMP exam tomorrow for migraines. Is there any tips or
Okay,
points?
I can answer this one.
There you go. Go ahead.
I got a video for that. Check out my YouTube channel and me being Dwayne right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
Where do you fall? And I think we talked about this earlier. Where do you fall in the migraines diagnostic code 8100 under the neurological body system and the VA's disability rating criteria? Do you meet the 0%, the 10%, the 30%, or the 50%? We just answered a question where the gentleman was talking about they basically lowballed him, Mr. Smiley, and he talks about part of the 50% severe economic inadaptability. Okay. So knowing what that criteria is and what evidence do you have to back up if it's 0, 10, 30, or 50. But as David said, watch that video on how to win your claims for migraines.
Lavange, iron shapes iron. This is what we're talking about. Chris, this one's for me. Dave, I was hoping to get into an investment property soon and listen to your videos on my drive home. Have been super helpful and informative. Well, I appreciate it, Chris. Chris has been a long time subscriber and has been with us through our 12-hour live event. He's been on the video with us. So much appreciated, Chris. Thank you for your support, brother.
Well, I need another CMP exam for my SMCT if I rate it at 70% for TBI. Sure, it could be a routine future exam. People, if you are service connected for, I'm assuming, Mr. Higgins, you're service connected for 70% for a mental condition, along with SMC the TBI. If you go in for an increase in your mental and your service connected for TBI, they're going to request that exam because look at the DBQ. We talked about this, Dave, knowing what's on that DBQ. They asked, is the veteran diagnosed on a mental DBQ? Is the veteran diagnosed for TBI? And if it's yes, there's other questions the examiner has to complete.
Wowza. I'm not sure what the Veterans Navigator is, but
Oh, yeah. He was in that. So yeah, that's the software that I was talking about.
oh yeah. All right, cool. That's
We'll use the
awesome.
Veterans Navigator to create an educational packet for my. Yep. So so the fixes that we were talking about yesterday, Scott, I got them over to the developers. I've been up since Dave, 2:51 this morning. So I'll look to see if they fix those, Scott. Yeah.
That's good. So I say thanks for all the videos, bro. Thank you for watching. Much appreciated. Someone said, Dwayne, I signed up for the monthly membership that was extended this past Monday. I've never received an email. Oh, that's you. I'm not doing that.
Yeah. So Les, email me at can I give our email, Dave, if you don't mind?
Yeah.
Yep. It's support at vabenefitsnavigator.ai. Support at vabenefitsnavigator.ai. I'll send you a link. When I send you that link, click on login and then do a reset, password reset. We got that all squared away with the developers.
Awesome. This one's for you.
Thank you, gentlemen, for the valuable information. You're welcome. Thank you for the support. Dwayne, I'm at 90% now with special monthly compensation attached. I switched VSO groups and are extremely close to obtaining my 100%. Guess what? I have 2 videos. Stuck at 90%. How do you get to 100? And the other one, still not 100%. Do this.
Because someone said, people using "Don't Poke the Bear."
I did it. Guess what? I got a video on that. And I explained how you can poke the bear, right? Again, that is YouTube clickbait, fear mongering. Okay. But you have to know what you are doing.
100%.
Because there's things if you're doing an increase in something, and I've seen veterans 100% PNT, they come in and people say, why would they do that? Why would they do that? Had a client, Vietnam vet. And I want to say he's maybe in his late 70s, early 80s, and he has diabetes. And he said, Dwayne, I'm going to pass away from my diabetes. I only been 100% for a few years. I want to make sure I get this diabetes service connected under Agent Orange because I want to ensure that my wife gets DIC with no problem. He was already 100% permanent total, filed a claim, and literally in less than a month had a rating decision. Okay. So you just have to know what you're doing because if you're going in for something like an increase and that percentage has been in effect less than 5 years, you go to that CMP exam, it shows improvement. They can do a proposal to
Well,
reduce. And if they reduce you lower than that 95%, you just open up a can of you know what.
so I'm waiting on that appraisal that was done yesterday. Fingers crossed, everything goes well. It should go well.
Mhm.
Just so you guys know, 10 business days from the time that the appraisal is ordered. Typically, that's when it's going to be due. So I believe Friday or Monday. So
Mhm.
thank you for dropping that in the comments. Someone asked, I don't think I'll ever reach 100%. Keep getting denied.
Right.
Meh.
So you got to understand the process. In my first book, VA Claim Success, on page 13, there's a paragraph, there's a graph. On the right, I list all different diagnoses. On the left, I list the different ways of service connection. You have to draw the line. Where does it fall under one of the ways of service connection, and what is the requirement for that? It's not I went to this VA hospital, had a sleep study, and my primary care said file a claim for sleep apnea. But if it doesn't fall under different ways of service connection, it will get denied. So you got to understand what you're claiming and where does it fall under the different ways of service connection and go from there. But
Well,
understand more so why they said no.
yeah, I got you. Sean C. I started the VA home loan process today. Hopefully, it was with me. If you check in the description, you can actually schedule a call with me. And I can help you through that journey. So, really appreciate you being on here.
My husband had DBQ for migraines and vertigo, completed by his physician with very frequent prolonged prostrating attacks that significantly CMP exam nurse practice rated 30%. High-level review. Make sure you have a copy of that exam. Now, let's say you put that 50% criteria in your lay statement. The rater could have used, there's an actual 38 CFR, the M21-1, could have used your subjective statement, your lay statement, to grant you the higher benefit if the examiner did not. They just updated the DBQ to remove the 50% criteria question from the migraine DBQ, and I did a video on it here recently. But if it's in that your statement or in the remarks section on that DBQ, then yes, the rater should have granted the higher percentage of 50%. If not, you can make that argument on a high level review. But make sure you go to the M21-1, just type in subjective and start doing your research so you can find the -1 that covers that. And it should lead you to the 38 CFR that covers it. So when you get to the informal conference, you're not just talking, well, Dwayne said this on a live stream with David. Nope, you're bagging up
Why'd
with
you
that.
implement me in that?
I
Don't,
know, right?
don't, don't implement me on anything.
He did it. Who
You're
broke
like,
the
I
legs?
was a witness. Oh, here we go. Or a co-conspirator. But all right, now we're going. We got a little more than 7 minutes. We're going to power hour. We're going to start answering these questions
rapid fire.
fast.
So
That's
like
you.
I'm sure it has been covered already, but our claims to yes, they're still being processed. How long after now do you have to appeal? 365 days. That let me know, Buzz, you did not reach your notification letter because it's in the notification letter.
And you also need to get his books. Everything will be in there and a roadmap.
Yeah. Other way, submit a claim in June. Man, he's giving dates. Or June 2025, along with my entire medical file over 21 years. Ooh. Yes, I retired August 1st. I haven't received my CMP exams, and I went from stage 3 back to stage. Should I be concerned? And David, not really. BDD claims are taking longer. I tell people if you're on active duty, you need to have that prescribed claim form, your SDR submitted at 12:01 a.m. on that 6th month before you leave active duty. Okay.
Yeah, definitely need to prepare for that.
Yeah.
got a shout out here. Use David for all your VA loans. That's a fact. That's not even and that's an opinion. That's a fact right there. I know you were saying that appraisal was yesterday. That's why I said Friday or Monday. But this is the good part with the appraisal process. That if we don't hear anything, unlike the VA, that is very positive. That means everything's going to be okay. But when they reach out, that's not good because they issue Tidewater, but that's okay. A question, can I place my home in a trust if I have a VA loan? Yes, you can. Just make sure you get with an estate attorney to do that. I'm not an attorney. I'm doing this right with my house as we speak and like my parents' house. So it's a great tool. You can't buy in a trust, but you can put a property in a trust. All right. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Oh, this is a good one. How far back does the VA back pay veterans once they get 100%?
To the effective date.
To the effective date. That's why it's important to file early and then gather all your stuff. Because I think, Dwayne, people are like, well, I'm going to first gather all my documents and then I'm going to file. Like, come on, please. File so you can get the most you can get.
Right.
Good information. Thank you. Appreciate that. This one's for you.
Filed a secondary for my back and mental health. Both were declined. Therefore, requested a highlight review that I got approved to advance to medical. So I'm assuming they requested another CMP exam, which is not uncommon.
We've been seeing a lot of great profile pictures, so keep it up, guys.
Yeah. Yes, look at Dwayne's video. I followed it to the dime, and I got 50% first. Dwayne, and then a 50% took me over the top. There it is.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yep, there it is. My medical approved 30% for mental and denied for the back because it was not service connected. Not that it wasn't service connected, but they said something else. I'm pretty sure. I'm having back surgery on Friday with right leg neuropathy. What are my options at this point? Where does the back fall under the different ways of service connection? My first book, page 13, is where I talk about this. I recently got rated 100%. Congrats. And my VSO sent a high level review and supplemental claim for back pay, and both got denied. Why is the VA only giving an effective date from CMP exam? Because it is something, actually, I was doing research earlier today, because guess what my next video is going to be on? Effective dates. And that is called date facts found. You normally hear about the intent to file, but the 526, when that's received, that's the date of claim, then the date, entitlement arose, aka facts found.
I like what you said. I think I will have to poke the bear.
All right.
That's what we're talking about.
It might be time to, stop messing around with a high level review. You're already 100%. Go ahead and get all those, benefits and go straight to the judge.
Yep.
Hello, are sleep apnea and asthma rated under the same code? No. Different diagnostic code. Good evening. First time here, everyone. 100%.
Welcome.
PNT, SMCS doesn't come easy. Wow. 14 years. Congrats.
That's awesome.
The CMP exam opinion said my condition was least as likely as not, which is a positive opinion. Then by the end of the opinion, the examiner said my condition is, no, that's not normal. Something is going on. There's also errors in my DBQ and contradictions in the examiner's medical opinion. Could I do it? Yes, but you need to know what they are and what part of regulations are you going to argue. Might be a good idea to get that claims folder if you hadn't already.
All right. We're coming down to the last minute.
Okay.
30.
Medical evidence, 5 years to get my 100% PNT. Congrats, Barry. Got to keep fighting. Never use my VA home loan. Got his sleep apnea secondary approved to BVA this month. There it is. That judge has a lot of power, people.
Are the judges working right now, or are they off?
I don't know. That's a good question. I would say so. You know what? In that article, in that somebody texted to me. Secretary Collins did say they are working.
All right, good.
Yep.
All right. When I do an IRL, interest rate reduction refinance loan, can I request more money to add a pool to the home, or would I have to refi? I like where your mind's at. By mean, it's no time to add a pool because it's very cold. So with that, you would do just what's considered a cash out refinance. But if you have a really good interest rate right now, then you might consider doing a home equity line of credit. So Milton, thank you for sharing. Thanks for the donation. Much appreciated.
Yep.
And by the way, for the back to this question, if you're interested, I can help you. You can schedule a call with me in the description or check out my YouTube channel, VA Housing Education.
Yes, I just put a link to my Shopify account to pick up the book. And everybody, the books will be shipped the end of October. Definitely the first week, no later than the first week of November. And make sure you use the coupon code. Okay.
All right.
So
We're about to wrap up.
Be a third party. Will that create a complication? No.
This one, and that's it.
Yep. Yeah. Did we get to all of them? Yeah.
Yeah.
Something about I wish we could send them $5K for this information.
I saw that. I'm like,
Hey, hold on. Let me give you my cash out right quick, Mr. Gonzalez. Yeah, in Arizona with $5.99. Thanks for your help. Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool.
Yep.
Cool.
So currently rated on. So this one's for you.
Currently rated on one mental condition. Would it be a good idea to get service connected for a second mental condition? You cannot. That would be pyramiding. They will not grant you service connection for PTSD and turn around and grant you service connection for depression. People, keep in mind when you're reading that rating scheduler, under the mental health, it says general rating formula criteria. That means there are more than one diagnosis. There are more than one diagnosis that criteria is for. You'll see it in mental condition. You'll see it for all sinusitis conditions. You'll see it for certain skin conditions like dermatitis, psoriasis, and things of that nature. And you'll see it for certain musculoskeletal like thoracolumbar strain, cervical strain, and about 4 or 5, maybe more than that, 6 or 7 musculoskeletal conditions will fall under the general rating criteria of the spine, meaning the cervical and lumbar. Woo!
Whoa, that's what I'm talking about. Well, listen, I want to thank everyone that's out there that joined us today for the live event. Hope you guys got some good info. Make sure you subscribe to both of our channels so you can get the most out of your benefits. And we'll catch you guys on the next stream in a month from now. We'll see you guys later.
All right. Have a good one.